Hello friends, I hope everyone's having a great week. I hope everyone was able to grow from last week's thought and is ready to continue learning together. This week, Parshas Noach, we'll start from the very beginning of the Parsha, which is the general plan for this year as we begin our journey through Ramban Torah. The Pasuk begins, Parashas Perek Vav Pasuk Tes, Ve'ela Toldos Noach Tzadik Ish Tzadik Tamim Hayabidor Osaf. There is an established rule in the first appearance of a phrase in Tanakh that first appearance sets the standard for its use in future psukim. Our opening pasuk of the parsha appears to be the first time that we use the phrase Ve'ela Toldos, and on the surface seems to be genealogical. So that would set the standard for Ve'ela Toldos being genealogical. In Parashas Perek Pasuk Aleph, we see the phrase V'zeh Sefer Toldos Adam, and Ramban clarifies on the spot there that it's not an example of Ve'ela Toldos, because Ve'ela Toldos is genealogical, and this clearly is biographical. He lists some examples of genealogical use in Perek Yud Pasuk Aleph, Perek Chafei Yud Beis, and Perek Chafei Yud Tes. That one is going to come up in Parshas Toldos. We'll hopefully address in a few weeks. Based on the Ramban's wording, both in Perek and here in Pasuk Vav, the phrase Ve'ela Toldos is a purely genealogical phrase. That's how he describes it. That's what it's meant to be. From this pasuk, it's a first appearance, and throughout the rest of Tanakh. And yet, its first appearance is not limited to genealogy. It has a little description of Noach. And Ramban points out this is not even the first mention of his sons. They throw in an extra mention. Something's a little off about this pasuk. To explain both the seeming break in character for a genealogical listing, as well as why we're repeating the sons at all, we'll first need to explain what the Torah is actually saying about Noach's character. If we had a successful week working on our Shnai Mikra, we're familiar with the debate in Chazal about how great Noach was compared to Abraham. This debate has left a common assumption, at least in my understanding, that Noach was a good person, but not necessarily the best. But what does tzaddik mean? Ramban says tzaddik means just or innocent. Noach was innocent from any violations, unlike his generation. He deserved to be saved because he did nothing wrong and only followed Hashem, unlike the rest of his people. Noach was mischalech es Hashem hanichbad. He followed Hashem. This is how he was a tzaddik. Ramban adds that Noach was the only tzaddik around for generations, and that's why he alone merited to be saved. This tzidkus also explains how his sons were saved. Someone who's so innocent doesn't deserve to be punished by having his children killed in the flood. Or someone who's such a great example shows his sons also how to behave, and they were righteous enough to merit saving. What we see from here is a great praise for Noach, his attribute of innocence, that the accusal of guilt could not stick on him, was so pervasive that this character trait is mentioned in a genealogical description. My hope is that we also can have such positive traits that when people describe us, that they can, it will pervade our lives, and that we also can influence positively those around us. Have a good week.